Reddit stories. I told to my daughter that I'm not buying her a car and she beat me down in public. So, last week, my family and I went to the zoo for my big sister's 23rd birthday. It was super fun, you know? We were all having a great time looking at the animals and stuff. But then, when we were leaving this one area, there was this lady who kinda got in front of us. She didn't touch us or anything, but it was kinda annoying. I told her, there's no need to push ahead, love, and then, guess what? Her son, who was like a giant, started being really mean to me for no reason. He called me names like bitch and Karen. I didn't even know why he was so mad. It was like, whoa, chill out, dude. And then, my big sister started taking his side and saying stuff like, why are you like this? Why do you say things? It was so confusing, but then, it got even weirder. The giant guy asked my sister how old she was, and she told him. And then, he asked for her phone number, and she gave it to him. I was like, what the heck? When she came back to us, I asked her why she did that, and she said he's cute and that I need to be put in my place. I couldn't believe it, so, later on, when we were talking about it at home, I told my sister that if she thinks it's okay to act like that, she can buy her own car for her birthday. She thought I was joking, but I was serious. When she asked if we could look at cars, I told her she could look by herself, because I'm not paying for it. Now, everyone at home is kinda mad at each other. My brother is on my side, saying my sister was wrong, but my mom says it's not worth fighting over. I feel like if not getting her a car is enough for her to be mad at me, then maybe I spoiled her too much already. I mean, she already has a car that dad bought her 2 years ago, so it's not like she's missing out, right? Am I being mean? I don't know. What do you think? Update 1, few hours later, subscribe for more Reddit stories. So, I just got home, and my mom called me into the room to talk. It was kinda serious, you know? She told me I have to choose between buying my big sister a car, or she's gonna buy it with her own money. I was like, whoa, mom said she doesn't make as much money as dad, but she can still afford it. She told me that everyone is tired of dad's attitude in public. Every time we go out, he gets into arguments with people over silly stuff. I didn't really notice it, but mom showed me texts from me asking if she could go out with just her, because I always embarrass everyone. I told mom it's not true, but she didn't let me go out without dad. She also said she's not gonna punish me because dad can't keep his mouth shut. I told her I didn't want dad there because he always starts something, and she defended him, but then he made her look silly. Mom said I barely like dad, and if he doesn't get me the car, I might stop talking to him. I asked mom if dad thinks I'm just a piggy bank, and she told him to stop acting like a victim. She said it's up to him what he does with his money, but I'm getting the car no matter what. So, he can either make me hate him for no reason, or he can get me the car and swallow his pride. I don't really know what to do now. It's kinda messed up. Update 2, 1 year later. So, sorry I didn't talk much before. A lot happened yesterday, and it's kinda crazy. After everything, I called my daughter and my son to come over because I wanted to talk about everything. My wife told me to just forget about it, but everyone seemed to have a problem with me that I didn't even know about, so I wanted to figure it out. I waited for my son to get home, and my daughter drove over later. We all sat down to talk. I did what some people suggested and asked for examples, like real things I did. And you know what? It all sounded kinda silly. They brought up stuff like how I sent back a steak because it was undercooked. Seriously, who wants a not cooked right steak? Or how I argued with someone at the movies because they were in our seats. I mean, come on, I paid for those seats. There were other silly things, but honestly, I don't even remember them because they're not important. Even though I thought it was all kinda ridiculous, I said I would try not to be argumentative in public if that's what it took for them to like me. And I agreed to get the car, but I had one condition: my daughter couldn't have texted that mean guy. I asked to see her messages, but she was like, no way, you can't control who I talk to. I said, okay, that's true, but I can decide how I spend my money, and I'm not getting you a new car. You already have one that works fine. And even if I am kinda rude, you sided with the mean guy when our family was threatened. That's just not cool. My daughter got really mad and called me names, like a petty little pig-headed man with a Napoleon complex and other stuff. I fired back, saying the guy who yelled at old men isn't a winner either. Then she said something that really hurt. She brought up how my wife told them about me getting bullied when I was young. I told my wife about that in private, and now my daughter threw it in my face. I couldn't even talk. My daughter kept going, saying I should promise Jake, my son, I guess, he can still go to Cambodia and ask him what he really thinks. I just nodded, and my son didn't want to be in the middle, but I made him say something. He just said, "Sometimes you can be a bit much, Dad." My daughter called him a name and stormed out. My son went to his room, and my wife drove off after my daughter. They didn't come back last night, and I haven't heard from them since. I called out of work, my son left for university without saying anything to me, and I can't believe it. I feel like I'm in a movie or something. A rich old man with a family that hates him. I'm so lost. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do now. Reddit stories. My friend spilled wine on my wife during our wedding. Me and Ailey met through a friend in 2012 at a pub quiz in university. Back then, I kinda liked her, and I told her at the end of the night. But she said she had a boyfriend, even though she was flattered. Then, 3 years later, I met Eliza at the Edinburgh Fringe, and we just clicked right away. We talked about politics, music, and movies, and it felt like we had this amazing connection. Eliza just made everything make sense to me. We became inseparable, and I was sure about our future together even before we got engaged, but then Ailey came back into the picture. I started a new job, and she worked there too. At first, it was a bit awkward because of our past, especially since she was now married to her old boyfriend. But we decided to be friends, and it turned out we had a great chemistry as pals. Ailey is clever and has a cheeky personality, and our friendship is pretty fun. The tricky part is that Eliza doesn't seem to like it. Sometimes when the three of us are hanging out, Eliza feels left out or thinks Ailey is making fun of her. I don't see it that way, but there have been times when Eliza got upset because of something Ailey said. Like one time, Eliza got up, and Ailey sat in her seat to show me a video. When Eliza came back, she got upset. And sometimes, Ailey says stuff that Eliza takes the wrong way. Things got really bad at our wedding when Ailey accidentally spilled red wine on Eliza's dress. Eliza was crying the whole night. Now we're on our honeymoon, and Eliza wants a fresh start but thinks Ailey spilled her wine on purpose. She's asking me to stop being friends with Ailey, but I'm not sure if I want to. I'm really confused about what to do. What should I do next? Update, 2 days later. Subscribe for more Reddit stories. Hey, I asked for help here not too long ago about dealing with my wife's feelings and stuff about my friend Ailey. Seems like I got a bit of a reality check, and maybe I deserved it. I didn't really think about how Eliza was feeling, and you guys made me realize that Ailey might be causing trouble on purpose. So, I talked to Eliza about the whole wedding thing, and it was tough. She described what happened step by step, and it hit me hard. Ailey was tipsy and stumbling, and when they bumped into each other, Ailey made a joke about Eliza looking like Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl. She didn't apologize or anything. Eliza feels like Ailey has been doing little mean things for a while, and it's making her super anxious whenever they're together. It's not cool. I always thought it was just Eliza feeling insecure about that time I kinda liked Ailey ages ago, but Eliza is really hurt. She said our honeymoon has been miserable because of that memory, and she's worried I'll downplay it. She shouldn't feel like that at home. I didn't realize I was being a jerk, so I apologized a lot to Eliza and decided to talk to Ailey about the wedding incident. I called Ailey, and it did not go well at all. I told her Eliza was really hurt, and she needed to apologize or at least help clean the wine stain. But Ailey was totally surprised, asking what was wrong with their interactions. When I brought up the leapfrog comment, she said even I called Eliza that, and Eliza called her Garfield because of her hair and weight. It got messy, and Ailey got upset, saying she ran from Eliza, not at her, and she feels like Eliza hates her. I tried to focus on when Ailey hurt Eliza, but she started laughing and got anxious. Eliza even asked if everything was okay, and Ailey thought it was a setup and hung up. Ailey's husband called me, offering to pay for the damage, but I needed to know where Ailey stood. He said Ailey makes jokes when she's uncomfortable, and they've argued about it before. They agreed to pay for the dry cleaning, and Ailey will send a condolences hamper to Eliza. Eliza felt relieved about Ailey's husband being understanding, but wasn't happy with Ailey's reaction. She clarified the Garfield comment was about Ailey's hair, not her weight, and Ailey was trying to make it seem like both sides were wrong. I don't think it's equal, and I've never seen Eliza roast Ailey like that. Eliza suggested marriage counseling, which surprised me because we've only been married a month, but I agreed because if Eliza thinks we need it, then we do. So, me and Eliza are gonna try marriage counseling, and my friendship with Ailey is kinda up in the air now. It's a tough situation. Reddit stories. I blocked my now ex-girlfriend after finding out she was engaged and didn't tell me, but she is depressed right now. Hey, so I need to get this off my chest because it's been a total whirlwind. My ex-girlfriend, who's 28, I'm 26, kinda distanced herself from me because of some mental health stuff. I was really worried about her, you know? So, I tried to be supportive without putting too much pressure on her during this tough time. But then, we kinda stopped talking. Our relationship was pretty new, and I didn't know her friends that well. I thought maybe I could stay in touch with them to get updates on how she's doing. My ex had told me she doesn't use social media, so I tried finding her friends online. Guess what? Turns out she does use social media. And, surprise, she's been engaged to someone since 2019. When I checked public records, I found out that her fiancé's main address was the same as hers. I was totally shocked. I asked her about it, even though she was going through a tough time mentally. She denied the whole thing and claimed they broke up in 2020. But I showed her a picture of them from 2022. She insisted she lived alone and bought her place out of curiosity about new areas, not because she was living with a fiancé. She called me crazy and said it's none of my business. I told her I'm out, and she kept on talking. I think she panicked and realized she was losing part of her support system. Now, part of me is like, phew, dodged a bullet there, but another part feels bad for leaving her when she's going through a tough time, and I might be making it worse. I guess I'll never know the whole truth, or if she was even really struggling. Am I a terrible person for doing this? Same post, same day, I did contact the fiancé. I'll let you know what happens if he responds. Edit 2, same post, next day, it's been 24 hours, and the fiancé hasn't responded or maybe hasn't seen my message on social media yet. My ex-girlfriend deleted her social media account with all the pics and info about them being engaged. But she still has another private account that I can't see, and she's been posting on it this week. I'll update again if the fiancé responds. Not sure when that will be. Update, next day. Subscribe for more Reddit stories. So, guess what? I talked to her fiancé, and oh boy, did he spill the beans on a bunch of stuff. We decided to have a phone call to sort things out. Turns out they were still together while I was talking to her. Like, they were a thing while I was even visiting her place, and she would hide all his stuff whenever I came over. Sneaky, right? She only let me hang out when he was away for work or visiting his family. He never knew about me, and she was really good at keeping it a secret. And here's the kicker, they did break off the engagement, but he did it because he caught her cheating with not one, but two other guys during their 5-year relationship. One of them was right before she started talking to me. She'd send them messages, talk dirty, sext, you name it. She did the same thing with me. I also found out that the way I met her and the things she said to me are exactly the same things she told her fiancé before they moved in together and got engaged. She told me she wanted to get married and move in with me just the same way. To top it off, apparently, she met her fiancé while she was in another state, in a relationship with someone in the army. She left her army boyfriend, whom she met online, just like her fiancé and me, to be with this guy and move in with him. The fiancé is not mad at me, and we both agreed that she's seriously messed up. So, it turns out she does this all the time, like it's some kind of messed up routine. It's like she knows what she's gonna do before it even happens. She says all the right things to get the guy all attached, and then she does whatever she wants once she knows she's got them wrapped around her finger. Once she gets bored or feels guilty, she cuts it off and starts over with a new person, building on a bunch of lies from her past. Thank goodness I dodged this ticking time bomb. I thought stuff like this only happened in movies. She's one messed up individual. Blocking her doesn't feel bad at all now. Edit, same post, December 8, 2023, next day. She talked to her fiancé after I contacted him, and she told him I lied about everything. When she got all distant in our relationship and said we needed a break, she went back to him, begging to take her back, and he said no, haha. She probably would have come crawling back to me if I stuck around to support her in her hard times.